Understandably so. This is the Tatti Saracen Archer Rush, and boy is this a lot of fun to do. I'm going to be walking you through the build order, but before I do, let's just talk about what the Saracen Tatti Archer Rush is. It is 20 villagers up to feudal, and you are going to be constructing not one, not two, but 3 archery ranges in addition to a blacksmith to get fletching. This strategy is nuts. You get so many archers, but it does have some trade-offs. For example, once you have those 20 villagers, you're not going to be able to construct additional villagers, or you're not going to get fletching. Let's talk about the build. You start off with 6 onto food, you scout with your sheep, you scout with your scout, and then the next 3 villagers they are going to lumber. Arrrr. They're going to lumber, 3 of them indeed. It is so key that you find all of your resources. I'm going to say a bunch of times how tight this build actually is, and you'll probably see that because even though you need all of your resources, you don't need any of your, deer or ostrich, and you don't need any of your berries. And the reason that you don't need those is because you will not be constructing a mill. We need that wood for the archers. We need that wood for the blacksmith. We need that for archer production. Now the next villager after you have the 3 onto wood is going to be going towards the boar, and the next villagers are all going to be going onto food as well. I highly recommend that you task your town center to the food sources that are already being consumed. You do not want to kill sheep unnecessarily. Another thing that you got to keep track of is constructing houses. Now I know that I said 20 villagers up, which is true, but since you have your scout, it's actually going to be 21 pop up, but 20 villagers up. I highly recommend that you save your scout, because what you want to do with your scout in the meantime is scout to see where your opponent is so that you can A, build your production buildings forward, and B, know where your opponent's resources are so that you can hit those effectively. When do you grab the next boar? Well, you grab the next boar, you could say around 10 or 11 villagers onto food, but honestly, you grab it when it's almost out. Preferably, you want this boar to arrive when the first boar is completely consumed. And actually, I think we did a really good job in that regard. And you also want to make sure that you have as many villagers, not to dogpile it, but to have enough villagers that they can completely surround it, preferably underneath the TC. Now, this is the tricky part, and the thing that you need to remember. When you get 14 onto food, you need to pull off 2 from food to go to gold, and then the next villager goes to gold as well. So you have 3 onto gold, and the rest will be on food. That's the only little tricky thing that you need to do, and preferably you want to have them mining these front gold piles, so once again it's more efficient. This build is all about efficiencies, and you can just barely make feudal age with this, as well as having 100 food in the banks so that you can get fletching. That's absolutely key. So we're going to get 1 more vill that will give us a total of 20 pop. Our scout is engaging over here. Oh, actually, I think we pick off a villager. Yeah, we realized that he didn't have loom. So yeah, whatever you can get from your opponent, take it. Just take it. But that's not important. What's important is the build. We get loom, and now we should have enough to go feudal, click feudal, poop. Yeah, there we go. And now everybody that's on food is going to transition into wood, except for some to complete the 100 food that is required for fletching. And as soon as we have that 100 food, so we're 4 short, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. And now the rest onto wood as well. So we have an access of 9 plus 25, 34 food to spare. 34 food to spare plus the 7 here. So I have had it where I did this rush, and now we send 2 forward that were on wood to construct a barracks, and then to construct our archery ranges when we do reach feudal. We are not, I repeat, we are not producing additional villagers, even though we still have 100 food in the bank, because that 100 food is reserved for fletching. I have done this build so clean before that I actually had 150 and could construct 1 additional villager. I wouldn't even bother. It doesn't happen too often. I think it's better to just get 100 food and have the rest onto wood. Now, one thing to note, that you're not going to have enough gold to produce from free archery ranges. So once you've produced the buildings that you require, I would highly recommend switching some of your wood villagers to gold. You can see that we started with free, we actually already moved 1 over just to have a little bit more gold. You need about 4 on gold for each archery range that you are producing from. So we have a total of 3 archery ranges. That would be 12 on gold, but you're not going to have enough wood at that point. So can you constantly produce out of free archery ranges? No, but in the beginning you can, because you've saved up a little bit of resources, and I would highly recommend that you do go for free ranges, because you're going to be going super all in. Here is the blacksmith, and as soon as that blacksmith is up, we're going to pop in fletching, and then we're going to construct 1 more range. I love this strategy so much. It's super wild. I'm not a big fan of going for archer plays, but I did really enjoy this. And then once you have all of your archer ranges, I would highly recommend that you control group them as one. Also, keep track of your pop, because now you're going to be increasing your pop with those archers. Once you have a good number, I wouldn't show your hand when you have 1 or 2 archers out. I'll wait till you have about 6, maybe 7 archers, and then go from there. You can also see that we have switched a whole bunch onto gold. We have 9 on gold. Once again, that's not going to be enough to produce from free ranges. But once these guys are done constructing their houses, they are also going to go back to gold. And that should be pretty sweet production, if I do say so myself. Keep track of the houses. Keep track of your gold once you go to feudal. And man, this is fun. So we have 6, 7 archers out, and we're going to walk them right here before firing. We don't want to give our opponent any sign of what's going on until we are already shooting him in the face. And this is so satisfying. Boom, boop, 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 done, and donezo. And he's going for scouts, and actually if your opponent does not go for skirms, they're in a world of hurt. We already picked off a whole bunch of villagers from my opponent. He's at 18 and we're at 20, and we're not going to be constructing any more villagers like I mentioned before. It's stressful, it's tight, but when you do pull it off, it's absolutely wonderful. And now doink, doink, and the scouts, and watch how these scouts melt. It's so fun. Micro a little bit, boink, and boink, and boink. Oh, oh man, it's so fun to do. Yeah, if your opponent goes for scouts, you are in such a good spot, and the GG is almost instantaneously called. Now, I think my opponent could play on, because he's actually only 3 villagers down, but we are amassing a huge ball of archers. We have 12 archers, 2 more in the queue, and more coming. You could even switch off some more of these 9. Once again, you need 12 on gold to keep producing from free ranges. But man, 14 minutes for well, I guess there's 2 archers dead over there. 14 archers, I suppose, and more on the way by multiples of 3. What a strategy. I really enjoy this strat. It makes me so happy. It's super all-in. 11 kills to free, and you get huge numbers from this. He even had 5 scouts, and we just wrecked those scouts like it was nothing. Oh man, super satisfying. Highly recommend trying out this strategy. It's a little bit tricky, but when you do get it to work, try it against the AI. It is so satisfying. Keep walking to 20 villagers, 21 pop, and when you do, go for that triple archery range and a blacksmith. My mind was blown when I learned about this strategy. A lot of fun. Thank you guys for walking. Keep walking.